On our way to the family court clerk's office to get divorced, I suddenly started hearing my wife's thoughts. My cold, reserved wife looked at me with disdain. But the next second, a soft, pouty female voice suddenly popped into my head. Hubby, I don't want a divorce. What if I say I don't feel well? Can we not go? Hubby, please don't leave me. A fair, long-legged beauty like me. If you throw me out, whoever finds me won't give me back. I slammed on the brakes and nearly rear-ended the car ahead. I turned to Chloe Bennett, unsure. She didn't move an inch. Her lashes didn't even flutter. She was as still as a marble statue. It had to be my imagination. I swallowed. I cautiously asked, if we divorce, it won't affect you, will it? Chloe finally looked away from the window. She turned to me, her voice flat. It won't affect me. But her thoughts exploded like firecrackers, crackling nonstop in my head. I'm lying. Of course it'll affect me. People in our circle have an understanding. There are no divorces, only widows. If hubby really divorces me, I'll hang myself. Without hubby, I'll never be happy again. I don't want a divorce. I want hubby's hugs. This definitely wasn't an illusion. Her lips hadn't moved, yet her words rang as clearly as if she'd shouted in my ear. Chloe seemed to notice something was off. She suddenly met my eyes, hesitated for a few seconds, then said softly, I don't feel well today. Can we talk about the divorce another time? You did it, Chloe. You finally said it. Hubby, say yes. Let's go home and stay married. How could I live without hubby? I can be wild, clingy, cute, or sweet. Sheer tights, white stockings, fishnets. I'll wear whatever hubby likes. Her thoughts made my temples throb. But seeing her little face pretending to be demure, I somehow gave in. Well, let's go home for now. Chloe's eyes lit up, but she only gave a small nod. Pretending to stay calm, she said, okay, your call. The ride home was no longer deathly silent. I could clearly hear her humming a terribly off-key song in her head. Hubby, hubby, over and over, sickeningly sweet. That's when I realized I barely knew my own wife. Everyone saw her as an elegant, aloof professor. Who would have thought she had a chatty parrot living in her head? Along with a whiny little crybaby? We got married fast, planning to build love afterward. But we were both busy, and her icy personality didn't help. We lived like roommates. We even had separate bedrooms. Even at home, we entered one after the other. Chloe changed her shoes and said coolly, I don't feel well. I'm going to my room. I need to look up how to make hubby happy. Where did I hide my stockings? I need to find them. Why does hubby like cold, aloof girls? If he can like an ice queen, why not me? I'm so easy to please, and I'm passionate. I get mad for 3 seconds, then go right back to pampering hubby. I stood in the entryway, completely baffled. Who told her I like ice-cold faces? That's a total lie. Still, that huge contrast made me more interested in Chloe than ever. More importantly, the tone of her thoughts. How did it sound like she felt nothing for me? There had to be some huge misunderstanding between us. Unfortunately, Chloe didn't leave her room all afternoon. She was too far away for me to hear her thoughts. I have dinner with a client. Her usual cool reply came from inside. Got it. Hubby isn't eating with me again. He's always meeting clients. Are his clients prettier than me? I must not be understanding enough. That's why hubby wants a divorce. My eyes are swollen from crying. I need to ice them soon. I stopped at the door, feeling conflicted. The Chloe I knew was always calm and composed. She rarely even frowned, let alone cried. Who would have thought? She'd secretly cry over something like this? After finishing with the client, I went straight home. After my shower, I lay in bed and stared at the ceiling. My thoughts were a tangled mess. Were we actually getting divorced or not? I never liked dragging things out. Before divorcing, I needed one honest talk with Chloe. I had to know what she really thought. As I pondered that, there was a soft knock at the door. Come in. I sat up and looked over. Chloe stood at the door, fresh from a shower, her long hair over her shoulders. A faint mist clung to her. Her usually bright, upturned eyes were lowered now, their corners red. What is it? I still don't feel well. Could you take a look? Her voice was softer than usual, with a hint of shyness. Hubby, don't reject me. I'll really cry. I've been preparing all night. It took me forever to work up the nerve to come here. I'm not a doctor. If it's serious, I'll take you to the hospital. Just as I stepped forward, a soft, porcelain white hand suddenly pressed down on my shoulder. No hospital. I know what's wrong. It's just. Hubby, don't look at me like that. My heart's about to burst out of my chest. I'm so nervous. Why does he look so handsome today? Hubby, I'm weak all over. Can you rub me a little? The moment she finished, the room fell deathly silent. I could even feel her thoughts cut off. The air froze. The next second, Chloe's face turned bright red. The blush spread from her cheeks to her ears. She pressed her lips together, speechless. Your chest feels tight? Oh no, why did I say that out loud? That wasn't what I meant to say. Chloe, you're such an idiot. So, do you want to explain? I. Then she suddenly reached out and took my hand, placing it over her chest. My chest just feels tight. Rubbing it should help. Fortune favors the bold. We've come this far. What am I afraid of? Rub it, hubby. Don't just stand there. My hand rested on her soft skin and moved instinctively. The next second, Chloe jerked as if she'd been burned. A light pink flush covered her skin. Even her fingertips trembled. I think chest tightness can be treated with Xiaoyao pills. I'll find some. Before I finished, Chloe reflexively stopped me. She probably used too much force. I stumbled and we both fell onto the bed. She landed on top of me, her nose nearly touching my chin. In the chaos, I felt her hand brush my abs. Holy crap, APAC abs. They feel amazing. I've done good deeds my whole life. What's wrong with one little touch? That's not too much, right? Just one more touch. Get off me first. You're making my chest feel tight too. As expected, Chloe was only wild in her head. She scrambled to push herself up. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. Seeing her panic, I reached out to steady her. The moment my fingertips touched her waist, Chloe went completely stiff. Then she went limp and collapsed back onto me. After that, it's hard to believe you didn't mean to. No, it's not that. You can't just touch my waist. It's sensitive. Seeing her red ears, I couldn't resist teasing her. But before I could say anything, her thoughts started rambling again. What do? I touched his abs. I'm so happy. My waist feels so ticklish, but it feels so good. Hubby's hands are so beautiful. I want him to keep touching me. Chloe, get a grip. That's so perverted. Well, I guess the image of the aloof professor has completely collapsed in my eyes. 2.5 minutes later, we sat facing each other on the couch. Chloe kept a straight face, trying to look cold and composed, but the blush on her face wouldn't fade. She looked like a tiny cat pretending to be fierce. She said nothing, just stared at me, as if waiting for me to speak first. But her thoughts had already given her away. I don't want to talk to hubby about anything except dating. When he said we needed to talk last time, was he deciding whether to keep me? I should have worn something sexier. What a waste. When I suggested divorce, you agreed so readily. I thought you also felt something was wrong with our marriage. I don't think there's a problem. We've just lived as we agreed before marriage. I'm curious why you wanted a divorce. Unfortunately, her thoughts ruined the mood. Why does hubby want a divorce? Is there some temptress out there? Which little tramp stole my hubby? Is she prettier than me? Does she have a better body? Is she more educated? Better at pretending to be frigid? I may be pretending, but I'm really convincing. Shut up for a second. Her barrage of questions made my temples throb. The moment I spoke, the world went silent. I didn't say anything. The next second, her thoughts returned, tinged with excitement. Hubby's so fierce, but he's so handsome when he's fierce. Why do I suddenly want to kneel and call him master? Chloe, you're such a pervert. But what hubby said might not be a bad idea. Wow, that hobby is way beyond what I expected. Under the shell of this icy goddess professor was a mind full of the strangest little fantasies. My divorce request has nothing to do with another woman. Before we married, we agreed to part amicably if there was no spark after a few years. We've been too busy. For 2 years, we've lived like roommates. I thought you were tired of this dull life too. And I heard you liked an upperclassman in high school. The moment I mentioned that upperclassman, Chloe's cool mask cracked. The blush that had faded spread from her neck to her cheeks, until even her ears were bright red. Seeing her like that, the little hope I just felt was instantly doused. Anyone who saw that reaction would think she still had that upperclassman in her heart. If you love someone else, you don't have to force yourself to stay with me. Ethan Hayes could never accept a wife who loves another man. Another man? Hubby's jealous. I'm so happy. What other man? That upperclassman is you, you idiot. I could just confess right now, but I look such a mess. Should I confess while I have the chance? I should have worn that lace nightgown. I regret everything. Wait, I'm the upperclassman? I froze, my mind racing. I'm 2 years older than Chloe. She went to college overseas. We couldn't possibly have been college classmates. So that upperclassman had to be from middle or high school. But looking at her face, I had no memory of her. Chloe must have been a beauty even back then. I couldn't possibly remember nothing. I was about to ask when Chloe suddenly stood up. It's not that I didn't react when you brought up divorce. There was a problem with an experiment at school. I simply couldn't get away. As for that upperclassman, that's long over. I really don't feel well today. As for the divorce, can we set aside time to talk it through? I can't confess now. It's too embarrassing. I need a romantic moment to tell him everything. I saw him at the high school's anniversary celebration 3 years ago and fell for him. How does he not remember me at all? Seeing the unease in her eyes, my doubts only grew. But I knew this wasn't the time to press her. We both needed time to sort out this tangled relationship. How about 3 days from now? I'm traveling tomorrow. Okay, I'll go get some rest. Good night. Good night. I watched her walk away, feeling conflicted. Only after her door closed did I slowly sink onto the couch. I rubbed the bridge of my nose. So that cold, reserved professor wasn't just a clingy little crybaby. She'd also been secretly in love with me for years. This divorce is definitely off. Our talk in 3 days should be interesting. A faint smile crossed my lips. Watching Chloe look calm while inside, she screamed her way back to her room. I stared blankly from the couch. Everything that happened today felt surreal. Ever since I started hearing Chloe's thoughts, I felt like I was dreaming. Should I see a psychiatrist? Was any of this real? But those soft little hubby-s felt too sweetly real. Meanwhile, Chloe was rolling wildly across her bed. She was hot as a little furnace. Does Ethan know I've secretly loved him for years? Wait, if Ethan knew he was the upperclassman, why would he still mind me loving someone else and insist on divorce? And how did he find out? Memories of that summer came rushing back. What elementary school kid are you? Why did you come all the way here after school? He pointed toward the alley entrance. See that? That's Westfield Technical School. The people there are rough. Don't come here alone again. After a pause, he scratched his head. Want me to take you to the police station? Or use your smartwatch to call your parents? Chloe froze and looked down at her middle school uniform. Some boys shouted from the alley. Ethan, what are you doing? Let's go. We're playing ball. Go on ahead. I'll catch up. When he turned back, he said seriously, I think I found a lost kid. I need to take her to the police station first. That day, Chloe somehow committed his name to memory. She obediently followed Ethan to the police station. She stayed until her parents rushed over. Ethan handed her over to the officer, then ran off. From that day on, in Chloe's heart, lived a boy named Ethan. Didn't you say you'd heard Ethan liked quiet, aloof girls? I pretended to be one for 2 whole years. Why doesn't he like me? Why does he insist on divorcing me? Didn't you say you'd heard Ethan liked quiet, aloof girls? I pretended to be one for 2 whole years. Why doesn't he like me? Why does he insist on divorcing me? Babe, I told you that intel might be wrong. So did you actually get divorced? No. I said I felt sick, and we turned back. Then I lost my mind and tried to seduce him. And now I'm texting you about it. That tells you how badly I failed. On the other end, Olivia nearly spit out her boba. Chloe lay face down, her little face scrunched up. Even her typing slowed. Today he even asked if I'd loved an upperclassman for years. He said he couldn't accept his wife loving someone else. But there is no one else. It's always been him. Olivia's eyes went wide when she read the message. In a romance novel, this plot would take 365 chapters. So what are you two going to do? We're going to talk it all out 3 days after he returns from his trip. I don't want to pretend anymore. It's exhausting. Good morning. I made breakfast. Let's eat. Morning. Thanks for doing that. Hubby looks so good in a black shirt. My legs are turning to jelly. I love it. I love it so much. Oh no. Why is hubby staring at me without saying anything? Did I say something wrong again? That's when I realized. She hadn't been joking about sheer tights, white stockings, and fishnets. This proper, aloof professor on the outside was shockingly uninhibited inside. And somehow I was looking forward to it. Before leaving, I glanced at Chloe, hesitated, then said, I'm leaving. Wait, your tie's crooked. Hurry, let me fix hubby's tie. Don't look for a mirror. I'm better with my hands than a mirror. We can fix it when we land. But hearing her thoughts, my hands stopped. I looked at her cool face and slowly said, sorry. Could you fix it for me? I won't go in. I'll fix it for you. That's when I realized his acting was awful. His pretty eyes couldn't hide his joy. How did I never notice before? He came over to fix my tie. It wasn't even crooked. He just wanted an excuse to get close. Other girls get sweet hugs goodbye when their husbands leave on trips. I had to make up my own excuse. But it's okay. Their husbands aren't as handsome as mine. We were so close. I heard her thoughts clearly. A hug would have been awkward yesterday. We were supposed to get divorced just a second ago. Cleared my throat. Her slender white hands reluctantly moved away from my tie. Everything went smoothly. Okay. As I turned to leave, I heard her whimpering thoughts. I paused and looked back. Wait for me. Wow, hubby's so sweet. Wait for me. Wow, hubby's so sweet. We had just met up at the airport when Mason came over. Dude, you're getting divorced. Why are you so happy? He paused, then added, oh right, you didn't. I shot him a glance. You're pretty well informed. Mason chuckled nervously, his heart pounding. I can't exactly say he still talks to Olivia. They've been broken up for years. Keeping each other's contact info? We'd never hear the end of it. Worse, he accidentally told Olivia what I liked. He indirectly made Chloe pretend to be aloof for 2 years. Mason quickly changed the subject. Are you really willing to divorce her? A woman like Chloe will have plenty of men waiting to swoop in. I suddenly stared at him in silence. Then I laughed. You sure care about my wife. Don't get the wrong idea. Mason quickly waved his hands. I'm into someone else. He paused, as if remembering something, then asked carefully, did you? Is it because I once told you? Chloe had loved an upperclassman for years, so she wanted a divorce? Good thing I can hear her thoughts, or this misunderstanding would have gotten huge. Olivia told me, Ethan, don't be mad. How was I supposed to know it was bad intel? You two haven't talked in years. What else did you tell her? I suddenly remembered Chloe's thoughts yesterday. She kept saying I liked elegant, aloof women. I only learned yesterday that I supposedly liked that type. But I don't. I gave Mason a dangerous look. I just told her what kind of women you liked. I thought you liked Chloe. Olivia kept asking, so I told her your type. That's basically a perfect assist. Then I remembered our blind date. Chloe didn't say much, but she had a sweet smile. I liked looking at her. But after we got the marriage license, she stopped smiling. Along with that misunderstanding about touching her waist. I really thought she was uncomfortable being with me. So that's where the problem was. I took a deep breath. Other guys get wingmen and advisors. How did I end up with a useless wingman? Then tell her what I like. Then tell her what I like. Elegant, refined ice queens, that kind. When you turned down that underclassman, you said you liked independent, aloof women. Mason, you're a real great friend. You can't even tell truth from an excuse? My bad, bro. You'd never dated anyone. How was I supposed to know it was an excuse? There it is. We found the root of the misunderstanding. But the biggest problem was us. We'd been married 2 years and never really talked. Meanwhile, Chloe was on her way to the lab. Actually, Chloe was perfectly normal when Ethan wasn't around. Calling her aloof wasn't entirely an act. She always wore that aloof exterior around others. When she entered the lab, the 4 students huddled together, whispering, instantly straightened and called out, "Good morning, Professor." Chloe nodded expressionlessly. "Morning. That's enough. Now explain the data you submitted." She stayed in the lab from morning until afternoon, watching the students correct every error in their data. Until Olivia's call came in, she didn't realize it was 6:30 p.m. She glanced at her phone, didn't answer and kept working. Her hands didn't even tremble. "It's getting late. You can go home." Emily, in her lab coat, asked respectfully, "Professor, would you like to eat with us?" Noah quickly chimed in. "Yeah, Professor. A barbecue place just opened across from campus. Our treat." "No, you go ahead. I just hope the data you submit next time isn't this far off." Her icy gaze swept over them. "Sorry, Professor. We'll be more careful next time." I'm starving. I'm starving. I'm getting barbecue with Olivia tonight. I miss hubby again. I really want barbecue with him. Our advisor is so pretty. But I'm genuinely scared of her. I'd heard Professor was young, accomplished, and insanely impressive. I was so happy, thinking she'd be easy to get along with. Do you think Professor acts like this in front of her husband? Meanwhile, Chloe was sitting in Olivia's car. I really think your intel was wrong. If it was Mason's dead. I really think your intel was wrong. If it was Mason's dead. I really don't want a divorce. You won't. Come on, sis will gear you up. Chloe trusted Olivia completely, hearing you won't put her at ease. As for the gear, she'd see what was available. See, can we go in? Won't this be weird? Olivia was completely unfazed and pulled her inside. You said seducing him failed. You clearly didn't use enough. Let me help you pick something this time. Isn't this a little much? Chloe's voice was hesitant, but her feet honestly followed Olivia inside. I don't want a divorce at all. Took so much to marry Ethan. I'm not letting him go. The business trip didn't go smoothly. I met too many people, stretching it to almost a week. I drank until my stomach nearly bled. At last, the deal was on track. I promised Chloe we'd talk when I got back. I kept pushing it back. She never used to reach out first. After calling to explain missing our date, she started saying good morning and good night every day. Her messages were dry, clearly written by someone and used to this. Yet they warmed me for some reason. Am I bothering you at work with these messages? If I am, I'll stop. Am I bothering you at work with these messages? If I am, I'll stop. No, they're interesting. Seeing them made business dinners less irritating. She was still reserved, but she shared more and more. Sunsets by the roadside, cats slacking off in the lab, even new dishes in the cafeteria. I was away for a week, working nonstop, yet I felt these 7 days had brought us closer than 2 years of marriage. A few days later, I finally boarded my flight home. I didn't tell Chloe, hoping to surprise her. I wanted to see how she'd react when I suddenly appeared. After leaving the airport, I took a cab to Hartwell University. I stood outside the lab and looked in through the glass. Chloe was there, wearing a cold expression, lecturing the 4 students. The 4 students looked about her age, but her presence had them completely cowed. I'm saying this one last time. Do it if you can. If you can't, request a new advisor. If you think I can't mentor you, but don't have the nerve to say so, I'll ask the school myself. This was the first time I'd heard her sound so cold. Chloe had always looked so aloof, but when she spoke, there was always a trace of warmth. Watching her through the glass, I suddenly thought, maybe I don't actually dislike aloof women. Like Chloe right now in that lab coat. With her full authority on display, she's damn irresistible. Noah was bowing his head as she chewed him out. He caught sight of me outside in his peripheral vision, and couldn't help looking twice. Noah, what are you looking at? Is there data out there you need? She followed Noah's gaze. She followed Noah's gaze. The instant she saw me, surprise flashed in her eyes. Ah, it's Hubby. Hubby's back. Is he here to pick me up? Was I too harsh just now? Will Hubby think I'm scary? I'm not scary. I'm super sweet. It's all this disobedient bunch's fault. They ruined my image in Hubby's eyes. Not counting the morning we saw each other before my trip. I've gone 168 hours. Or 10,080 minutes. Without seeing Hubby for 604,800 seconds. I miss him so much. Her syrupy Hubby made my ears burn, but I couldn't stop smiling. Oh no, I think he's turned me into a lovesick fool again. I nodded to Chloe, signaling her to finish up. With Hubby watching, Chloe instantly lost the will to scold them. Still, she kept her little face stern, doing her best to maintain her professor's authority. She told the 4 students, make these mistakes again, and don't bother coming back. Don't waste our time. Then she waved them off. The 4 students looked rescued, all turning toward me outside. They'd seen it clearly. The instant professor saw this man, her whole presence changed. I met their looks without shame and nodded amiably. Stay and finish the experiment. Only then did the 4 quickly pack up and slip away. Chloe took off her lab coat and hurried out. When she reached me, a faint smile touched her face. Her voice held a hint of apology. Sorry to keep you waiting. Are you here to see Professor Whitmore and Professor Hayes? No, I'm here to pick up my wife for dinner. I'm sorry I missed our date. We said 3 days. But it took much longer. As my hand neared her cheek, Chloe's heart skipped. Her chattering thoughts fell silent at once. One tiny gesture and I'm falling for Hubby all over again. This is the 999th time I've fallen for Ethan. One more and it'll be 1,000. When will he fall for me? This time, a trace of sadness hid in her thoughts. My chest tightened. I suddenly felt I really needed to get to know her. We walked side by side beneath the campus trees. It looked quiet. It only looked that way. Chloe's inner monologue was playing on repeat in my ear. She talks so much, and her mind is filthy. My ears were burning. When I heard her plotting whether to try seducing me again tonight, I couldn't help glancing at her. The sunset softened her delicate features. The exhaustion from the trip seemed to vanish. As dinner approached, I asked, "What do you want to eat?" Chloe had already repeated it 800 times in her head. "I want to grill meat for hubby and show him I'm wifey material." But when I asked, she only glanced at me and said coolly, "What do you want?" "Chloe, what's wrong? Say something." "Barbecue, barbecue, barbecue." "Hubby's asking you. Why are you acting aloof? You said you'd stop." I want to slap myself. Holding back a laugh, I said on purpose, "If you don't have anything in mind, how about barbecue tonight? How does that sound?" "Anything's fine. We're on the same wavelength. Hubby and I are on the same wavelength. I'm happy, so happy." My mood lifted too, and I started a conversation. "What did the students do to upset you?" Chloe had been humming in her head, but the song stopped cold. It was just one experiment. I walked them through every step. I practically did the work for them. But they questioned one step and changed it without asking, which ruined all the data. Their doubts were reasonable. But they should have tested them, right? Instead, they insisted they were right. They wouldn't even verify it. And this isn't the first time. The last few times proved they were wrong and I was right. Hubby saw me yelling. Does he think I'm scary? Will he be disappointed? I'm really not scary. I'm super sweet. I'm not interested in academic research, but most of my family works in it, so I can understand how she feels. Sorry, am I boring you? My life is pretty dull. It's all experiments and research. Am I boring? No wonder hubby doesn't like me. Hearing that, I looked at her seriously and explained, "Not at all. I'm actually interested. I'm not in your field, but I've always liked learning about new things." At my words, Chloe's eyes lit up. For the first time, I truly saw how someone's eyes could sparkle like stars. So her feelings had always been this obvious around me. I just never took the time to look. We soon reached a nearby barbecue restaurant. When ordering, Chloe seemed more relaxed after what I'd said. She ordered several dishes I liked. When the meat arrived, the server asked if we'd like help grilling. Chloe refused without a second thought. "No thanks. I'll grill it for my hubby." Last time I saw another professor eating barbecue with her husband. The wife grilled for the husband. If others have that, my hubby should too. Ah, what a strange train of thought. Even if she was jealous, I should be the one grilling for her. But I soon realized I'd misjudged her. She genuinely couldn't grill. Watching those fair hands nearly touch the scorching grill, I grabbed her wrist just in time. A red mark had already formed on her delicate hand. It looked alarming. Ah, we're holding hands. Hubby's holding my hand. If hubby would kiss me too, that'd be even better. Ah, we're holding hands. Hubby's holding my hand. If hubby would kiss me too, that'd be even better. Does it hurt? Should I ask the staff for burn cream? Or go buy some for you? And no, I'm fine. It doesn't really hurt. Chloe carefully pulled her hand back. It wasn't that she didn't want to touch me. She was just too shy with me staring at her. Her whole body went weak. She might race through wild thoughts, but she was actually very shy. I couldn't hear her thoughts. Yet I could see how embarrassed she was, so I let go. But my worried eyes stayed on her hand. In the end, I still pressed the service bell. Luckily, the barbecue restaurant kept burn cream on hand. Chloe grabbed the cream and dabbed it on herself. When the server asked if we needed help, she was too embarrassed to speak. She'd meant to impress me, but only embarrassed herself. I didn't trouble the server again. I picked up the tongs and expertly grilled the meat. Chloe stared at my skillful technique. When the meat sizzled with juice, I placed the cooked pieces in her bowl. She finally snapped out of it and asked softly, "How are you so good at this?" I worked at a barbecue place for a month in college. I was broke back then, so I had to get a part-time job. Was that when Professor Whitmore and the others wanted you to switch majors and go into academia? As long as I can feed myself, I won't go into academia. How did you know? I was a little surprised. That happened during my freshman year. It was a long time ago, and not many people know about it. Chloe started to panic. She'd only blurted it out because she'd been too relaxed. She wanted to say she'd heard it from Mason. But under my questioning gaze, she fell silent for a moment. Then she said softly, "I followed your social media before. When you were a freshman, I was already overseas. I was a sophomore abroad at the time. I already knew my wife was amazing, But I still couldn't help marveling when I heard that. You're amazing, even more than I imagined. Praised by hubby, Chloe's cheeks turned red again. Actually, we'd met before I went abroad. You thought I was a lost elementary school kid. You took me to the police station. Huh? Did that happen? I just hadn't grown yet. I was already in 9th grade. It was just a small favor. Why would I remember it for so long? Chloe looked a little disappointed, but she quickly perked back up. She briefly explained what had happened. That semester, Brookfield Prep's upper school and 9th grade were temporarily taking classes on the high school campus. Part of the middle school building had collapsed. Mentioning the building did bring back a vague memory. I looked at the sophisticated, confident woman in front of me and could hardly imagine mistaking her for an elementary school kid in 9th grade. She must have been tiny. I'd skipped a grade, and I really hadn't started growing yet. I really wasn't much bigger than an elementary school kid back then. You weren't entirely wrong. Ah. Then you must have been an adorable little kid. Chloe froze and stared straight at me. I always wanted a cute little sister. If I took you to the police station on my own, it must have been because you were so cute. Otherwise, I wouldn't have bothered at that age. I looked at her, my eyes full of amusement. I can still tell you used to be an adorable little girl. You're so beautiful now. You must have been even more lovable back then. I don't want to be just your little sister. I want to be the person who stays with you for life. Ah. I was just making a comparison. I wasn't asking for a little sister. Looking at her blushing face, I thought this kind of life might be nice. Just now, I finally confirmed that the upperclassman my wife had long dreamed of was me all along. Chloe was still embarrassed by what she'd blurted out. Her eyes darted around, afraid to look at me. I poured her a cup of barley tea and said softly, "Actually, what you had Olivia find out about my type was a little off. I don't like aloof, intellectual women." Chloe's eyes flew wide. Her face instantly went white. He knows. He knows I've been pretending. He knows everything. I'm such a clown. So then what kind do you like? I wasn't sure before, but lately, I think I have an idea. Why not try being yourself again? We're married, after all. We're in this for life. On the way home after dinner, one thought flooded Chloe's mind. Hubby knows. He knows I've been pretending. He knows everything. I'm such a clown. But hubby's so smart. I couldn't stop smiling in the car. Being with Chloe made all my exhaustion disappear. I was starting to look forward to seeing her true self. When we got home, I was heading to my room when Chloe suddenly called me. I wasn't completely pretending. I really am like that around my students. But with people I'm close to, I can be pretty playful. I was afraid you wouldn't like that. How would you know if you don't try? Then I'll try. I just didn't expect her to act so quickly. The next morning, when I woke up, I saw a steaming breakfast on the table. A sticky note was beside it. "Good morning, hubby. I have class today, so I went to school first. If breakfast gets cold, heat it up before you eat." After breakfast, I headed to the office early. By noon, I was busy when Chloe unexpectedly called. She said she'd made lunch and wanted to bring it over. Soon, Chloe showed up with lunch boxes. At my office door, she'd looked calm and elegant when she met my employees downstairs, but her face lit up the moment she entered my office. Her eyes sparkled, and she looked adorably silly. After I finished my work, we sat side by side on the couch and got ready to eat. "I didn't know you were such a good cook." We'd both been too busy to cook together at home. Whenever we ate together, we usually went out. Chloe explained with a smile. "I went abroad young, so I had to learn everything myself. When I became an adult, my mom went back home and stopped living with me. So I had to figure out how to cook on my own. I noticed that ever since we cleared things up yesterday, Chloe stopped forcing herself to stay so reserved. She actually smiled a lot. When she smiled, she looked even younger, like a girl who never quite grew up. After lunch, Chloe didn't want to leave, but she cleaned up without hesitation. I stood up to help. Our hands suddenly brushed against each other. Chloe froze and glanced up at me. I'm shy." "Ah, honey, you're kinda cute." Praised for being cute, Chloe pressed her lips together. She wouldn't meet my eyes, and her face grew redder. I teased her on purpose. "I already called you honey. Shouldn't you return the favor and call me hubby?" I watched her white teeth gently bite her lower lip. Her face was red, but she couldn't say a word. I didn't rush her. I turned and took the burn cream I'd bought that morning from the drawer. "Does your hand still hurt?" Seeing that I wasn't forcing her, Chloe couldn't tell whether she felt relieved or disappointed. She'd called me hubby hundreds of times in her head, but she couldn't say it when I asked her face to face. You work with your hands in the lab. How could you be so careless? Put some on. Instead, Chloe only blinked. Then, as if summoning all her courage, she held out her hand. This is my right hand. My left isn't very nimble. Could you put it on for me? I looked at the hand she held out and almost reminded her that she'd applied the cream herself last night, but I still reached out and took the hand she'd offered. She gazed at me with wide, expectant eyes. Hubby's hand is so warm. My hand's going to melt. As expected, while I applied the cream, all kinds of filthy thoughts started ringing in my ears again. From holding hands to hugging, then taking a beach vacation, with hubby putting sunscreen on me. Her thoughts were moving faster than a rocket. I kept a straight face and calmly finished applying the cream. Chloe's face was so red it looked ready to bleed. She looked at the lingering redness on the back of her hand and said softly, "Good thing I treated it right away last night. It didn't blister." I lifted her hand to my lips and blew gently on it. My warm breath brushed over the cream-covered skin. It left behind a faintly cool sensation. "Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to. It's a habit." "It's okay. I'll head back first." I stood and took her lunch boxes. "I'll walk you out. I have a meeting this afternoon, so I probably can't drive you home." Chloe obediently walked beside me, her thoughts surprisingly quiet. My company was a growing small business. At this hour, my employees usually took a lunch break. The office was usually nearly empty, but when I opened my office door today, I found the entire office nearly full. I was speechless. We'd never had this many people at a regular meeting. Chloe was caught off guard by all those eyes turning toward her. Hubby's employees work so hard. Are they looking at us? Do they think we make a good couple? If I'd known so many people would be watching, I'd have worn something nicer. What a mistake. I'm still new at this. I just need more practice. I'll come back a few more times. Hubby won't mind, right? He didn't say anything, so he must not mind. It's settled. I glanced at the woman putting on a whole show in her head. Let's go. Ignore them. They're probably just curious what my wife looks like. I loosely put an arm around her shoulders. I didn't quite touch her, worried she might feel uncomfortable. She suddenly stopped and took a small step back, deliberately stepping into my arms. Her warm body pressed against me, heating my whole side. He hugged me. Hubby's such a gentleman. He makes things so difficult. But that's okay. I'll make my move. Haha, does hubby have abs? They must look amazing. When will he let me touch them? I'd settle for just a peek. Did you drive here? Yeah. I drove myself here. I can drive home. I watched her car drive away, then turned back to the office. Chloe didn't go straight home after leaving the office. She went to see Olivia instead. The outfit she'd bought last time was still buried at the bottom of her closet. It had never been used. She knew nothing about romance. She really needed an advisor. Olivia was a typical trust fund kid. Her family was rich, so she never had to worry about money. She'd become a minor online influencer, sharing makeup tips and restaurant visits. Chloe, Olivia's at her usual spot. Thanks. Hey, gorgeous. What are you having? Where'd you just come from? How did you know? I just had dinner with my husband and came to see you. No coffee for me. Hubby just made me tea. So you came here just to flaunt your marriage. How does Ethan restrain himself? He's been married to this beautiful, innocent girl for 2 years and still plays it pure? I need to ask Mason if he's all looks and no action. Those guys have no conscience. You've been married for 2 years and are still playing innocent? You barely even hold hands. If all else fails, just get physical and deal with the paperwork later. Yeah. That's honestly what I've been thinking. But Ethan, I think he's respecting me. You've been married for 2 years and are still playing innocent? You barely even hold hands. If all else fails, just get physical and deal with the paperwork later. Yeah. That's honestly what I've been thinking. But Ethan, I think he's respecting me. Ahem. What the hell does that have to do with respect? You're right in front of him every day, and he still holds back. What else could it be but a problem? You've got the looks, the body, and the brains. Forget it. There's nothing wrong with my husband. Stop saying that. Sorry. I have a big mouth. That's not what I meant. Let me show you something adults should see. I think I need a proper excuse. I can't use these things yet. How are you supposed to make a move like this? Summer break starts next month. Celebrate by taking him on a trip. Book a room with one big bed. You'll have plenty of chances. Chloe's birthday is in September, and Ethan's is in March. That's too far away. No, his company will be swamped during summer break. He won't have time to travel. Then make the first move and be more obvious. Break this stalemate for good. Fine, fine. Then tell me exactly what you plan to do. I worked all day and couldn't make it home for dinner. I ate fast food at the office with my employees. By the time I finished, it was after 8. But plenty of people were still working late. Normally, at this hour, I'd also take care of the less important files on my desk. But today, all I could think about was Chloe carrying 10 lunch boxes at noon and walking toward me with a smile. In the end, I decided to go home. I left the office and got in my car. After hesitating, I called Chloe. She picked up quickly. Do you want a late-night snack? I'm heading home now. But I'm not really hungry right now. If I turn him down, will I miss my chance tonight to have a late-night snack with hubby? Of course not. We'll go out together after I get home. Okay, I'll wait for you. I glanced at my smiling reflection in the rearview mirror and shook my head helplessly. Ethan, you're hopelessly inexperienced. I soon got home. As soon as I opened the door, I saw Chloe sitting on the couch. She sprang to her feet. You're home. Yeah, I'm back. She gave me a sweet smile. Do you want a shower first? It's still early. The next second, I heard her thoughts. I suddenly went for a sweet girl next door look. I wonder if hubby likes it. Hearing her thoughts, my smile only grew. Is the AC too cold? This time, I didn't hesitate. I reached out and patted her head. Chloe felt like I'd seen right through her. Embarrassed by my question, she shook her head. It's fine. I turned it up a little so it's not too cold. I'll go change in my room, then. I won't shower. After a few steps, I suddenly turned back to her. You look really beautiful today. Then I turned and went upstairs. Even upstairs, I could hear her squealing downstairs. Like a broken record, she kept repeating that hubby had praised her. She was as happy as a child. Soon, I changed into a plain t-shirt and jeans. When I went downstairs, Chloe had changed too. By coincidence, we'd both chosen t-shirts, one black and one white. Together, they looked like matching couple outfits. What do you want to eat? It's late. How about kanji? A new kanji place opened across from the complex. It looks pretty good. Do you often go out for late-night food? Sometimes. If I get back from the lab too late, or get hungry while reading at night, I go have a bowl. The evening breeze lifted the ends of her hair. Chloe and I walked side by side through the summer night. The weather was beautiful. Looking up, we could see a sky full of stars. Our moods were just as bright and peaceful. Chloe pointed to the shops along the street and earnestly introduced them to me. I suddenly remembered when we first got married. Ethan, want to get a late-night snack with me? No, I'm on a deadline. Go without me. Back then, I wouldn't even make time to give her a second look. Thinking about it, I couldn't help looking at her a little longer. She paused and instinctively touched her face. Is there something on my face? No. People must tell you you're beautiful all the time. Within minutes, Chloe's face was red as an apple. Her eyes darted around, and she began to stammer. Really? If I'm that pretty, can you hold my hand? She looked at me and whispered, you wouldn't exactly be losing out, right? If I'm that pretty, can you hold my hand? She looked at me and whispered, you wouldn't exactly be losing out, right? I don't have much experience with women. I'm afraid moving too fast might scare you. So if you want something, just tell me. Our fingers finally intertwined. She happily swung our joined hands and smiled at me. I thought she hadn't heard a word I'd said. After all, she'd clearly been too flustered to think. But as soon as we sat down, she looked at me. You said I could be direct, so here goes. Completely unprepared. I nodded. Sure, go ahead. Your parents want us to have a baby soon. Granted, I did tell her to be direct. But did she have to be that direct? She went straight to making babies. I suddenly realized the biggest difference between Chloe and me was how innocent she truly was. Not that she was naive. Her world was simply nothing like mine, fighting my way through business. When I said nothing, Chloe tilted her head in confusion, and her thoughts rang out. Was that too direct? There's no subtle way to say it. After a pause, she added, did you forget we're having dinner with your parents tomorrow? We'd been married for 2 years. We weren't close, but we still ate with my parents every month. I remember. I'll pick you up at home. You don't have class tomorrow afternoon, right? No, I'll wait for you at home. Just a heads up. Your parents may bring up having kids again tomorrow. Hubby remembers my schedule. That basically means he cares about me. If he cares, I'm in his heart. And that means he likes me. Now that I've warned hubby, he can't blame me when his parents push us for a baby. We used to say we were busy, but they probably won't buy that anymore. Only then did it hit me. My parents had already been pressuring us for a baby, but I'd never heard it once. That meant Chloe had been shielding me from it all. Just then, the claypot kanji arrived. Through the curling steam, I watched Chloe politely thank the server. Sometimes I truly felt this innocent, clingy girl had extraordinary strength and kindness at her core. If my parents bring up kids again, tell them to come to me, or just say I'm not ready for one. Chloe paused at my words, then smiled sheepishly. It's really not that bad. Your parents are reasonable. They just know we've been married for 2 years, and worry because we've never mentioned kids. They're probably wondering why I still haven't gotten into hubby's bed. That thought instantly lifted my guilt and made me laugh. I looked up at Chloe, who was staring eagerly at me. She apparently hadn't expected me to look up. She froze again, then blushed, and glanced toward the window. You said you lived alone overseas. Do you need a lot of personal space? I was young then. My mom stayed with me for a while. Once I got older and adjusted to life abroad, I started living on my own. She looked at me, her thoughts full of anticipation. Why is hubby suddenly asking this? Am I reading too much into it? I do value my privacy, but if hubby asks me to move into his room, I guess I could. It's late. There's no harm in dreaming. Hubby's so sweet tonight. I want to move in right now. I couldn't help laughing at her thoughts. How could a respected professor have such a dirty mind every day? It was pretty cute, though. I watched her keep debating what pajamas to wear after moving in. Then, do you want to move into my room? Live with you? I'm serious. I'm asking you to share my room. Chloe's already wide eyes grew even wider. She stared at me, too stunned to react. Of course, I'm only asking. If you don't want to, forget it. I just think we're already married. The word move slipped out, and she covered her mouth in embarrassment. She lowered her eyes, afraid to look at me. I mean, we've been married for 2 years. If we're working on us, sharing a room makes sense. I'd like to move in. Good. Don't worry. After you move in, until our relationship reaches that point, I won't try anything. What does that mean? Why won't you try anything? Did I gain weight? Am I not sexy enough? I'm not afraid of you trying something. I'm afraid you won't do anything. It's fine. I'll move in first and figure it out later. I'll come up with something. Black, white, or nude stockings. Let's eat. Seafood kanji gets fishy when it's cold. We'll discuss the move after dinner with my parents tomorrow. Whatever you say. Eat up. The kanji's getting cold. After eating, we took a leisurely walk home. It wasn't too late. Cars and pedestrians still filled the streets. We chatted casually, moving from work and life to all our interests. I suddenly realized that even without hearing her thoughts, we could still have a great conversation. Felt natural. Back home, we headed upstairs one after the other. Good night. Is hubby really not asking me to move in tonight? I don't have much stuff. He can just take me. This time, I didn't give her what she wanted. I needed some time, too, to accept that I was about to have someone sharing my bed. The next day, I worked at the office all day, but still left on time for home. Passing a flower shop, I stopped to buy a bouquet of roses. Chloe was dressed and waiting at home. Mom likes lilies. I thought those were for Professor Whitmore. I know. I also know you like tulips. They didn't have any today. I'll get you some next time. These roses are for you. And for me? Yeah. They're for you. Do you like them? I love them. I really love them. Hubby gave me flowers for the first time. I need to preserve them. I'll take them to campus, preserve them, and keep them in my office. If you like them, I'll bring you flowers every day. You don't have to. That'd be wasteful. A bouquet can last 1 or 2 weeks. Could you give me one every week? Your flowers can make me happy all week. Those words struck my heart like a pebble, sending ripples through it and throwing off my heartbeat. So, may the happy Professor Bennett come home with me now? Plenty of people called her Professor Bennett, but when Ethan said it, it always sounded intimate and flirty. Of course. She carefully set the flowers on the table and gently stroked the petals. She couldn't hide her smile. The 999th time Chloe fell for Ethan. It'll soon be the 1000th. The 999th time Chloe fell for Ethan. It'll soon be the 1000th. Aside from the 998th time I'd heard before, this was her most sincere thought yet. I watched her slender figure, and my already restless heart beat faster. Let's go. My parents will worry if we're late. Chloe touched the petals, looking even happier. She turned and skipped toward me like a little bunny. Can we hold hands? Those 4 words made Chloe freeze. She looked at my warm, outstretched hand and didn't hesitate. She reached out and took it. Of course. Maybe she didn't want me to be quite so gentlemanly. Sometimes, a simple touch was enough to make her happy for hours. My parents didn't live far from us. It was only a half-hour drive. When I led Chloe inside by the hand, Professor Whitmore was watering her flowers. She teased, "Well, His Highness is home." Her eyes suddenly fell on our tightly joined hands and instantly lit up. "Chloe, come let Mom see if you've lost weight again." "Mom." Chloe greeted her sweetly. Though she hated letting go of my hand, she obediently went over. "Seriously, Mom? Could your favoritism be any more obvious? She's Chloe, but I'm His Highness? What a double standard." Haha. Her affectionate tone made Chloe blush. She looked up at me shyly. I gave her a reassuring smile. She really blushed at the slightest teasing. She looked up at me shyly. I gave her a reassuring smile. She really blushed at the slightest teasing. Our Chloe has such fair skin. Don't let yourself get sunburned. Ethan, go help your dad in the kitchen. Mom, let me do it. Ethan must be tired after work. Hubby just got off work. How can they make him cook? I feel bad for him. But can hubby cook? Oh no, now I want to try his cooking. I knew Mom was deliberately sending me away, so she could talk to Chloe alone. Fine, I'll cook. You ladies can sit back and wait. Yes, hubby really can cook. Thanks, hubby. I'll give you a massage at home. But what if hubby doesn't want one? Couldn't wait to see how she'd bring up that massage tonight. Well, His Highness is back. Thanks for cooking, Dad. Haha. Chloe, go relax in the living room. I made your favorite garlic ribs. Okay, call me if you need help. I'm a great cook, too. Watching how my parents treated Chloe, I suddenly realized that after over 2 years of marriage, this was the first time I'd noticed. My wife was more popular here than I was. What are you staring at? She's long gone. The way you're love-struck, I think you two were newlyweds. Dinner was cheerful until Professor Whitmore set down her fork and spoke to me bluntly. Ethan, my heart sank. I had a bad feeling. I answered casually and put another garlic rib on Chloe's plate. Watching her blush and hearing her bubbly joy, I thought dinner was pretty entertaining. Professor Whitmore got straight to the point. You're not getting any younger. When are you and Chloe having a baby? Here we go. Rebecca and Aaron barely see each other, so I don't pressure them. But you and Chloe live together. Why is nothing happening? Mom, Dad, I've been too busy with school and the lab. Stop covering for him. I checked your schedule with the university. You're not nearly that busy. Mom, I really was too busy before. The company was new. I had to handle everything myself. That was before. What about now? The company's stable now. What's your excuse? Exactly. What about now? Does hubby want a baby? I'm ready whenever he is. Professor Bennett stared at me with an innocent expression, as if she had no ulterior motive. But her mind was already getting dirty. What a dishonest little thing. Humph. Aha. I'm less busy now, but don't rush us. We'll let it happen naturally. Too much pressure will only make things harder. What does hubby mean? Does he really want a baby? Absolutely, hubby. Tonight I'll go home and pull out everything Madison gave me. Ha ha ha. After dinner, we watched TV with my professor parents for a while. After chatting, we got ready to leave. On the way home, I kept waiting for Chloe to bring up the massage. On the way home, I kept waiting for Chloe to bring up the massage. But she didn't say a word the whole way. She didn't even mention it in her thoughts. Once home, I deliberately stretched and rubbed my shoulders. The hint couldn't have been clearer. Sure enough, Chloe noticed. She watched me, hesitated forever, then whispered, I learned a little massage from the women at school. If you're tired, want to try it? I'm really good. Please try it, hubby. Please. I'll be so sad if you say no. I don't know if hubby will like it. What if he won't let me in? My heart's pounding so hard. The butterflies are dropping dead. Hubby, open the door. Hubby, open up. Do you want your wife or not? Your wife's here. Let her in.